All right, all right. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Community with Co-Unity, where we bring on really great founders and heads of community, heads of marketing, all sorts of different interesting projects and products to talk a little bit about what they're building, what they're cooking, and then a little bit of elements on community strategy, sharing frameworks. So yeah, without further ado, super happy to pop up on stage here, Josef. It's great to see you, Josef. Would love to get a little bit of an introduction from you and what you're working on and Trustyfy. So over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you so much for having me on this amazing space, Co-Unity. I mean, it's a beautiful place, and what I've learned from Tommy, your colleague, it's you're doing an amazing job to build community in the space. So I'm thankful. I'm grateful to be here. It's really cool, and I'm a family man. I have one wife and I have 5 kids. So busy on that side, and that's beautiful, I think. And otherwise, I'm an entrepreneur. I work in education and also real estate. So that has been my life for the last at least 15 years plus doing this. So I am kind of new. I mean, about 5 years ago, I dig into crypto and trying to learn and understand what is going on in the world. I mean, it's changing and it's changing fast. So I was just curious to see, to learn, to find out how we can make this a better place. I mean, and with the new tools, because there is definitely something huge going on, the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3. And I jumped into a conversation with, not with, but listened to Kathy Wood, who is an investor, a very experienced one, pretty old lady, but still, going really strong. And she was like, explaining how this 5 industries really grow and parallelly develop, like actually nothing we have seen in history before. And we're well familiar with AI. It's coming strong and fast, and it's EV, of course, electric vehicles. We have robotics and multi-omic sequencing, maybe something we're not so much about. And of course, the foundation of it all, blockchain, which making it secure and safe. It should be, and I think it's leading up to that. And as one of our founders, Stefano Tresca, Web 2 was the internet of information, but blockchain is the internet of money. And so I was curious, trying to find out, how to be in this space. And I mean, when you don't know someone, I mean, it's hard you can do your own thing, and that's amazing. But about a year in this 5 years journey, a friend of mine had a friend who started Six Society, which is the incubator, the angel syndicate that is creating Trustyfy. So, and he asked me about it, and if I was interested, and I was so ready to step in and to learn and to be early on and find out, what we can do in the space. And when he explained what the plan was, I mean, now 3 years back. So that's how it kicked off, and how I got into it, and learn, and still learning, and understand that it's so much to learn and so much to do.
Nice. Yeah, like I think I had similar revelations when it came to crypto coming onto my radar, and then blockchain technology. And the more I read up into it, the more I realized this is going to change so much for us in the future. This is the new rails. These are new systems that just make sense, right? And so obviously you had a lot of similar revelations. And I took a course in it. It was like 4 years ago, and it certified me as a certified blockchain expert. And I was like, I do not feel like a certified blockchain expert. This is like a whole lot more to like learn on how this is actually implemented. One of the things you mentioned with your background is like a background in education. I'm curious to know like a little bit about that with yourself, like in your previous world, obviously in the education space, and now like learning and just learning lots and leaning into lots of this new frontier. What did that look like for you in your background?
I mean, I work a lot with both children and youth. I mean, in the Swedish society, there you can do this, and also have kind of funds from the government to do this. So that's how it's started, and I think actually from that I really take on to we have, it's difficult to learn an old guy to do something new. So we really have a chance really to educate the younger generation early on, to help them understand. And I mean, my 15-year-old son and my 18-year-old son, I mean, he just opened, he turned 18 a few weeks ago, and he just opened a Trustyfy account, and I just show him the space, and he's curious, and just to see, because they are so familiar already, because I mean they are in doing Roblox, all these games online, so they are already kind of living their decentralized, gaming life, and they are familiar with digital currencies, buying guns, and yeah, all of that. So I think the future could be brighter, because I mean they can adopt it in a beautiful and easier way, because I mean it's still, we are 20-ish years into web through and internet. I mean, and still people can be like scared, and now everything is kind of changing again, and
Hmm.
faster, more dramatic in many ways. Of course, a lot because of AI, and because we don't know what to trust and not not to trust and trust. So, and
Mm.
AI is, yeah, making it complicated. So on the information side, and the blockchain is really important part of making the space secure and safe, I think. So yeah, a long answer to where I come from.
I mean, I think the theme of it, which I learn a lot also from kids as well, the opposite direction, with just how curious they are, right? Like when you're a child, you're just so curious about everything. And now we're in an era where the world that they live in from a technological perspective is much different, right? So their curiosity pulls them into different things. It pulls them into creating wild structures on Minecraft, and versus, for me, I guess where I grew up as well in Canada, it would pull me into like hiking through like the forest or building something outside. But like now there's a lot more digital world and experiences and next frontier of tech and whatnot in different ways. And of course there's pros and cons to all of this, but like in general, there's just a whole new era of where that curiosity is pulling people. And it's great for us. We're building these different products to be curious about what if we could do XYZ, especially with these new systems, these new technologies available to us. So I think that's a nice little segue into this component where let's start to talk just a little bit about maybe the current banking system a little bit and what Trustifi is solving. I'd love to hear a little bit more on kind of what is Trustifi, and then a little bit around just like the current banking space and how is it kind of innovating there.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think all of us, I mean, who has experience and been into crypto now, and also the traditional banking, see the complexities. I mean, on the crypto side is in many ways very geeky still, and if you go into like MetaMask or any kind of decentralized platform, is kind of difficult. And the banking system, I mean, sending and receiving and converting is many times is time consuming. It's a lot of, many people lose money and have an issue with transfer. It takes long, it costs a lot, and that what Trustify sold. We build a bridge in between, so you don't have to choose either of it. We build a bridge. We made a connection, third party with bank and that traditional finance. So in one place, I mean, we cooperate with Visa. So in one, I now, I mean, as a I can just pay with crypto or with dollar or euro, and people, and that's what I think is the thick of it. with stepping into decentralized finance, has the experience still has to be like I'm in Web 2. So that's we are not necessarily replacing finance, but we're making it finally works. That's
Mm.
the thing with Trustyfy, because it's too much pain, too much loss, too much cost, and we make it seamless, I believe, and that's my experience now using it. The beta personal version that is out, and I will have a show a little bit later about it. And but
Hmm.
it really works, and I think it will be could be amazing.
Wow. I'm excited to see the demo. We're gonna get that here in a little bit. So stick around if you're listening. Um, I think for me, I'm just really curious as well because there's been so many different approaches in this space to do this, right? To simplify the user experience for finance, and that's what kind of crypto is supposed to bring. And looking at, we talked with the CMO at Wallet Connect, and there's over 750 different wallets, crypto wallets, right? And I often think of these wallets as their own individual banks in one way or the other. And a lot of them are taking different approaches into the UX, but obviously we really know a lot of the Web3 user experience is in itself on that side, and on the DeFi side especially, it's not easy. Like these seed phrases, these components of, if you put in one wrong digit, and send something to the wrong address, there's no customer service for you. This is what you got for being your own bank and fully decentralized.
Yeah,
Um, and then to your point, there is a big thing, and then lots of people. I had so many conversations with other agency owners as well, other businesses, and I know a lot of what Trustifi is doing is kind of a B2B element, helping businesses with this, which is on ramping and off ramping is very difficult sometimes, right?
mm,
It's just like there's elements of the specific chain, there's bridging, there's components of getting the money where it needs to go. These blockchain systems reduce obviously a lot of the fees and whatnot, but sometimes the experience is part of the element that's can be difficult still. And a good friend of mine was saying, I think the big moment for crypto will be when we get to a UX parity, when we get to a point where the user experience is parallel with the current user experience, or if not even like better, right?
mm,
So really excited to see like how Trustify makes a dent into this UX parity, right? Of an experience that's on a parallel with what is existing right now with other um, banks, other crypto project, other Web2 projects and Web2 things, right? But yeah, curious if anything drops to the top of your mind there, more so on these elements of there's a lot of players out there in the space, and there's a whole variety of different user experiences tackling different angles of this financial, improvements and efficiencies. How does like Trustify really take like an approach on the user experience and simplifying that?
I mean, the whole goal for us has and big focus has been that the experience, we call it grandma friendly. So even grandma and can open an account and actually send money to her daughter or her grandchild in wherever country they live in, because it should be easy, and that's what we think and believe. I believe we have solved, and I mean that it's seamless, it's easy. It takes. I met with another guy, Reiko, which also in Cannes, and we were standing in line for ordering on one of the side events, and we were standing in line before getting our drink, and I talked to him, and we have a quick introduction what we did, and before we had the drink, he have opened his account. So it's
Nice.
so that's how smooth and how easy it is, and so that's the focus, of course, to have it easy, and will see it in a while here, and how
Hmm.
it looks, and
Nice.
making it really good. Yeah.
That's really awesome. I'm curious then on the component. So you mentioned the word bridge, right? Like it's a really strong bridge between everyone, for the most part, currently has their existing financial base, set up through traditional banks, right? They've got the component of their where most of their savings or their checking or whatever. They've got it connected to their mortgages, to their car payments, all these different things, right? Um,
Mm.
I think it's really interesting that you're positioning this definitely as like this seamless bridge component to be able to have this parallel element of the Web3 experience connected through to your traditional setup, right? Because I'll tell a little just super brief story. I just recently had a heck of a time with my bank. It was with Chase. It was with a business account with Chase. I'm actually currently at my house, which is I run as an Airbnb. So I'm usually not here. I'm usually mostly in Portugal, but I rent my house out as an Airbnb, and I have it connected to a business Chase account for the money that comes in through Airbnb. And since I'm not here that often, I'm not in the US that often, mostly traveling out to conferences and mostly in Portugal with the rest of the team. Uh, Sometimes when I make transfers out of the um, business account here, it happens like every 6 or 7 months, or maybe a year or so. I get this like we have to verify your identity to make sure it's like really you, because maybe the IP address flags is somewhere weird, or different things like this. And this last time that I went to go do it, somehow in the time period within the last year, my phone number has gotten listed as like a potential dangerous phone number or a blocked phone number that's connected to the account. And they couldn't verify me through my phone number for like the code. They needed like my PIN password or whatever, right? And I never set up like the PIN password on like the debit card because I never needed it because I was always traveling and just doing things remotely. I don't even use the debit card. And they were like, we literally can't verify you until you come into a branch. They're like, there's nothing we can do now. You're like fully locked out of your account until you make an appointment and come into the bank. And so I like literally had to do like a trip and a layover specifically to go in and make an appointment and sit down with them at their office to unlock my account because of my like identity, right? And I get there's elements of what they're trying to do for safety, but the user experience of that was extremely frustrating to like not have access to the money in that account to make payments out to the cleaners and different things, right? Um, and so there's a lot of elements, I think, of user experience with existing banks around these different things that are still kind of, they feel like a little archaic, right? Like the fact that you can't verify any way online, any possible way, that you have to go and see someone in real life to do that. And then also just like the fees on some of the transfers and different things from the way that blockchain removes so much of that. I'd be curious to know, just maybe around that story, around other things that you've heard. What are some like kind of banking stories, old, traditional banking elements that, this bridge and this product kind of helps remove some of those things and, helps with that overall user experience? I'm curious on some of the traditional banking components that you see as pain points in the space right now.
Yeah, and I mean there is thousands of those stories, and I mean where many money got stopped. I mean, I had my own, of course, experience of that, sending money, and I tried to get around it, to send it to kind of a neo bank, and then convert it to crypto and then send it. But even this neobank, we don't have to mention any names, but they also, I mean, they supposed to be, I mean, better at it, but they refuse to accept it. So I try to send it back then to my Swedish bank, and I mean the Swedish bank system is very not crypto friendly at all. It's difficult. So I sent from one bank, and because they still encourage in Sweden that you have several banks. So because it's good to have. So I have some different kind of banks. So I send it to my other bank, hoping that they will, be more understanding. But I sent it to them, and they didn't even accept the payment, eller the transfer. So in, I don't know how many days, or if it was a week, the money was like gone. And I asked, where is my money? No, you have to verify where it comes from, and assure. And I said, no, it's my salary, it's my savings, blah blah blah. But and in third, fourth step, trying to explain, and I could verify. So it was no shady. It was like my salary. So, but they refused, and so I had to call back, and then finally we find another way to send it. So this, headache, pains, and I mean, some lost. I mean, some banks, what many people don't know is that when you're signing your bank account, your salary to a bank, it's not your money anymore. They can stop it, they can lock it, they can deny you if they think that you are not kind of verified. And we have another example of my friends in Trustyfy, who got called in like you to the bank, and they were sitting two of bank officers and asking those questions. And I mean, she has had she had a lot of trouble and problem, and they really kind of claiming to have the possibility to kind of control you. I mean, and that's why, it's such a passion and mission to find the solution, and the Trustyfy really can be that solution. So now when I'm sending money from my Swedish bank to my IBAN account in Trustyfy, there is no questions asked, because I'm sending euro to my personal account. So yes, they can, because they maybe are not familiar with that bank, so they can, okay, what is this? But I mean, as long as you not directly talk about crypto, banks are like, fine with it. And then as soon as my money is in the Trustyfy IBAN account, I do whatever I do, and swap it into Ethereum or whatever currency I prefer to continue to use them. So it makes it seamless and doable, makes it easy to do it and to live life.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I totally agree. And there's like it reminded me of another quick one of, there was some truckers that went on strike in Canada, and they were going on strike against the government, and the government somehow ended up connecting with the bank and freezing their bank accounts just because they were on strike, which stirred up a whole bunch of debate around that, where it's like, to your point, these banks can do whatever they want when they get a call from the government or whatever saying, hey, so-and-so is not playing with us, they're not behaving, freeze their accounts. It's like, that's just a phone call away, right? And so more ownership of your finance, but still with the right user experience and safety net with it and everything is incredible to have. And I think that makes a ton of sense that you guys are doing it in a way where from their point of view, it's not that you're going to crypto or doing crypto. It doesn't have to be mentioned as much. That's smart that there's that interlayer. So I'm curious, is that like a banking licensing thing that you have to have set up then for that, and more like operating as a bit of a bank, but then with the connective tissue of the crypto? What's like the bones of that?
Yeah, and I'm not the programmer, but we have third-party agreements with so we don't have banking license, so we make the agreements and the help people then to make that bridge seamless and easy. So that's the agreement and that we make within Trustyfy with banks and different currencies. I mean, so you can inside Trustyfy, you can set up your euro account, and you can you set up your US dollar account. So because, I mean, for example, in Sweden, it's very difficult to send money dollar to or send money to US. I mean, it's a lot of headache. But now when you have them, and I mean, that's the whole idea with Trustyfy, that you build within Trustyfy, you build your own ecosystem. We are not anarchists. We're not against banks in that sense, even though we don't like them so much because they create a lot of pain and headache. But we still, for a while, I don't know for how long, but I mean, we still have to get along and to find and build those kind of bridges in between, and that's what we have done. So within Trustyfy, then you build your own ecosystem. You add your whatever wallet. I mean, we're not a wallet, but you can have your MetaMask there, and you skip the headache of remember all the phrases and everything, because when you log in, which I will soon show you, you just have a one-time password that you get to your mail, and if you want, and of course preferable, you add a two-way verification, so it's all safe when you log in. And when you're inside, you just handle, and it's on it in the decentralized side. You are full in control. You and only you have access. We in Trustyfy and or in the support, we can just help you with setups, but no one can get in or do anything inside there. And so it's having your financial freedom back.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's jump into this. So I'm going to pull up this code here, and this means I think anyone who scans this, if you're watching, you can pull this up, and then you're going to share your screen and walk through this as well. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So
yeah,
I'll
pull this code up a few times, so anyone who wants to set up Trustyfy, they can scan this account and scan this QR code and get your free account.
Yeah, we give them a minute or so to scan it, and this is a free account. And I mean, the beauty with Trustyfy, I mean, and like you said, with all people we met through the year, and with it's you have most people have so much different apps and accounts and phrases, and they lost their phrases and this and that, but we choose to do it with this OTP, a one-time password solution, and add your two-way verification to make it safe and secure, so that, but I mean, you can use it, and you have success already. Awesome. Okay, let me share screen and bring you to...
We'll pull this back up again later.
Yeah. So let's see here. Then we have the website, and then we have the in log. And you just add... I mean, you first, if you like.
Oh, wait, 1 second here. I think I need to. There we go. This is your screen, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Perfect. Okay. And so this is the website, Trustyfy.com.
Yeah. And then you just add your preferred email, you submit, you have an one-time password to your mail, and you
I think your
copy
window
it.
might be on a different window right now. You might need to
Let's-
share a whole screen if you wanna, or
Do you
let's.
you're not seeing
I just see the website right now.
website only? Let's go back here and share. Why does it not?
Here, maybe.
Let's stop share
Yeah,
and
let's just reshare from the beginning. Yeah,
share screen. There
there
you
we
go.
go. Perfect.
So yes, you add your code. Let's.
It might have been because we took a little bit too long here, time-wise.
Are we now?
There we go.
Are you?
Boom, we're in.
Yeah, finally. Thank you for having the patience to see. I mean, so the only difference now, what you saw me doing, is that you add your email, you get an OTP to your mail, you log in, and you add your preferred name for your account, and then you are inside, and here you add your funds, either straight from another crypto wallet, or you add your MetaMask and you have it there, or the beauty here, I think, is having you can do uh, let's see. So you have the free account, and if you want then to add with a card, you add the plus version, either with $15 a year, or you upgrade to $60 a year, and so it's super simple. It's extremely easy interface, and you easy to swap, and on ramp, off ramp, if you want to transfer and send, and yeah. So it's we think it's good. We think it's beautiful. We think it's awesome. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. So, like, just understand the model side of it. It's completely free for you to add any sort of multiple crypto wallets. As soon as you go to add a bank, there's like just the $15 fee for the year, whatever, to connect in more than one bank or multiple banks.
Yeah, I mean, it's multiple third-party banks that we work alongside with. I mean, and which is, I mean, all connected to Visa. So you can just either, I mean, have the plastic card, or have the virtual card with Apple Pay or Google Pay in your phone. I mean, I use it every day now. I mean, and you sometimes, you come up to the counter to pay for your groceries or whatever, and for fun you ask, can I pay with crypto? And I mean, people in regular are not into crypto, so they think, no, I'm big, you can pay with crypto here. And then
Yeah.
you beep the card and you say, you just did. So, and it's just a beautiful way to add this to your life, to not have to choose, because either stay in the central traditional finance side, or only step into decentralized finance, which I agree with you, and I believe is the future, of course, of finance. But we are still there to bridge, and I think this is a beautiful bridge.
Yeah, this is really, I'm just exploring on the app. One question I have for like crypto finance products and the cards and stuff like that. Majority of all cards are like charge cards, right? Like some aspects similar to this where you kind of you fill them up with some crypto, you put some USDC in there, some coins in there, and then you can obviously then pay with the card at the outlet. I think sometimes there's a certain, I think this is part of the, maybe part of the UX or experience gap where people are still liking to use traditional credit cards because there's all these elements of, um, a little bit of their cash back with the connection with other perks that some of these credit cards come with, the loyalty kind of component to it. And then the big one is that, using a credit cards builds your credit history and gives you better rates on like mortgage loans and all this, right? Which I'm really
Mm,
curious on the next era. And this is like a big, maybe question topic, but in the future years, will we see more almost like this reputation of crypto cards and more, DeFi based loans like Aave and Compound and stuff like this start to take over things for getting like, I actually have a really close friend of mine, a couple in Mexico, Mitch and Almond, they're awesome. And I know like there's a component of they utilized aspects of, crypto financing for a mortgage, whatever, right? Which is crazy. It's super cool. But I'm kind of curious on that question, like, how do you see the element of like the charge card component versus kind of credit cards, and how does Trustify fit in there? What is the vision there?
I mean, the vision is to be the best alternative, because we know that, I mean, in the end, and that's in the name. I mean, it's about trust on
Mm,
how you will use a certain software or a certain um, solution, and so our greatest goal, one of the goals, is called to build that trust, and to enabling people to choose, and to have this amazing alternative in the space, to don't necessarily have to choose. Because I mean, during the conversations we have in the different conferences, I mean, some decentralized and the real deal decentralized people, they don't want to have anything to do with the traditional finance. And then, I mean, for example, in Sweden, the technology is so developed here on, I mean, I never see cash in Sweden. I never use cash. I mean, we have different kind of digital web 2 solutions which enable me to live digital in that sense. But it's still the banks who have the control of it all. But it made the Swedish people a little bit, scared, because it has been, reputation of the crypto space is still haunted with a lot of bad stories of that you lose. So that's what I think, and really believe that the Trustify will help and ensure that it's safe, and you can make that bridge, and in a beautiful way. I don't know if that
yeah.
was answer to your
No,
question, but
no worries. I think it's a touching on elements of it. Like we're definitely like I love the minimal design to it, the simple UX to it. And to your point, when it comes to safe, right? Like I'm looking at the integrated swap, and then super swap basically looks like a bridging spot, right? You can bridge to different chains or connect to different banks or connect from one thing to the other thing. And that's really cool and powerful, I think, because from a safety perspective, right now in the space, when you go to do a swap, a lot of wallets, they also integrate it. Like MetaMask is integrated. But when you go to do a swap on MetaMask, a lot of time there's an integrated MetaMask fee, for them to do the swap for you for that convenience or that safety. I haven't gone through the swap thing with what your guys' structure is around that, but there is definitely this element where you don't want your grandma Googling Uniswap, clicking on a fake Uniswap link, and then trying to move something from one spot to the next, right? And connecting in a wallet there. That's where a lot of these scams happen when you go to these different websites. They're getting so clever with like the way they'll put like an R and like an N beside each other and make it look like an M, and like just
Yeah.
crafty things in the URL. And I think that's where, when it comes to having the home and the hub for this all in one place, that's a big value prop here to Trustify. It's like it's all there, right? So that they don't have to be pulled around all over the place, right? So I guess
Yeah.
I'm curious a little bit then just on the Trustify user base, the Trustify community, for a lack of a better terms. Like, who are their customers right now? And what does that look like? And how has that gone? Like, amazing, you can onboard someone before you even get a drink. When you were just talking about it, I also did that super simple um, onboarding flow there in just a matter of, I think it was 10 to 15 seconds for me to go to my email, copy it in, and pick a name, and I was in. I'm curious around like what kind of groups or type of people are you seeing utilize it the most? Like, who is your number one user? What does that persona look like?
I think, I mean, when we launched, soft launched in July 2025, and we hit all the different conferences and all around the world. Actually, so we have a European team that is out, which I'm a part of, and then we have a US team which visit all the US conferences, and then we have an Australian team. So we've been around and speaking a lot. And so at the moment, I mean, already a few months in now, we are 10,000 active users, and 3,000 accounts opened already, using it and transferring and have it in their everyday life. And so I think most of the people now is crypto people. I mean, who has an experience, and what we have seen. And I mean, I think especially, I mean, in Cannes, it was thrilling atmosphere. People, a lot of young people, hungry of what is happening and in the space, but also the whole theme of what is going on in all these conferences is to find that smooth bridge, and
Mhm.
experience the easy interface that is enabling us to use it, simple and secure. So I think a lot of young people, I have, because I mean, I don't come too far long in the crypto. I have a lot of friends not entering the space yet. So I mean, and also, like I mentioned, in Sweden, it's kind of anti crypto, and kind of a cold, decentralized climate. But when I introduce it, I have it for my staff, the people my employees, and I show it to them, and several of them have families, in South America and other places. So when I just show it to them, it's super simple, and so I think it really has a potential to grow really broad, and of course attract the crypto space a lot, but also really intriguing, and making people curious about, okay, how can I use this in my everyday life, because that's what we are aiming for. And like I mentioned before, we're not Trustyfy is not trying to replace, but to the finance, or to, in that sense, work against the traditional finance, but to work alongside and make it possible to really live your life, pay your bills. I mean, but the beauty with Trustyfy is that in the same platform, in the same software, I pay for my dinner when I'm out on the restaurants. I go and pay my groceries, but I also can pay my have the corporate, I mean, the corporate account, which we are launching now. We're doing the last test this week, and then we are adding up for that list with a lot of companies. And like you mentioned, the truck drivers in Canada was exposed, but it's the same within Australia. We have an amazing powerhouse lady, Nadia, working there, and she had like 50 truck drivers, because they were similar experience, locked down their accounts, and they couldn't. And so when Nadia was introducing Trustyfy to them, they were like, okay, I'm in. So it really works, both personal finance and B2B, corporate side, and doing everything, build your ecosystem for your life.
Yeah, I definitely see how some of the growth, it could be a variety of different types of personas and people that get value out of this. It's quite modular in what it's bringing, from an element of just access to finance for how it works best for you, right? I think access to finance, money in general, is like the human fuel. It's like, it's what we need to pay different things, to how we get around, to how we eat, to how we get shelter. It's kind of like our Maslow hierarchy of needs. A lot of things we often pay for with money, right? Not to say that, money brings you ultimate happiness, but that's a whole nother deep side topic. Let's not go down that right now. But I think I'd be curious, because referral growth is something that I think is really strong for products like this. Like at the Christmas dinner table coming up here, people who have Trustify account and are getting value from it will be like, hey mom, hey dad, hey cousin, like, scan my referral code. You should hop on here, right? This is like helpful for me. Hopefully it's helpful
Mm.
for you. And that's a little bit of the concept of like a community growth mechanism I have, like called like GTC, go to community strategy, of creating like a watering hole, versus going and fishing for attention. A lot of projects, grow from a marketing perspective of putting lines out in the water, paying for KOLs, paying for ads, paying for different things to kind of get some of that hype or whatever, right? Which is definitely needed for top of funnel in different times and scenarios. But another super valuable growth component with a strong product is creating this like watering hole that people come to, and that's like they all congregate there and they tell their friends about it and they come there, right? And so I think there's a really interesting parallel between thinking through product design and thinking through community design. When you're looking for the same elements with a SaaS, you're looking for retention. Within your communities, you're looking for retention. When you have retention in your community, you often have higher buying activity in like the associated brand or the project, right? And so this is why we're really indexed on community building at CoUnity. So I'd be curious to know, when you think about community, what comes to your mind, and how would you even define the word community from your perspective?
I mean, I think, we are better together. And when I first met with our founders, and for me, this community and trust is really the foundation of an amazing community. Because and I think today, and as we see all around social media, it's all about understanding and getting to know, show, like, and trust, all these things that happens, when we meet someone, and it's totally doable in like this. I mean, I already like you a lot. I only needed like a few minutes with Tommy and Kan, to have that like connection, understanding that we see a similar future ahead of us.
Mm,
I think that is community, to have a goal, and together reaching that goal. That it was building community vision. I mean, without vision, people get lost. So I mean, but in a company like you guys, and the amazing work that you do in community, when you're aligning people, uniting people, to build something strong, and to help them. And I mean, in this, what is happening now is that there's a lot of amazing tools and people. I mean, that's but it's how we use them, and how we use them together, which build a amazing community.
nice. There's a lot of really great nuggets in there. I really like that, Joseph. And it's funny, I let people in on this too at this component of the podcast, where our name actually, Co-Unity, looks at breaking down the word community into common unity. It's like co-unity, right? And when you have a common unity, as you mentioned, when you share that same vision and you're on the same direction, um, you're connected then with those people. Like me and you both agree on a lot of elements of these aspects of finance, right? And so finding those people and pulling them together, letting them have those conversations together, that's like some of the difference in like an audience and a community. In an audience, the chairs are all facing the stage and everyone's listening to maybe just like a blast of announcements, right? Like on a lot of social platforms. But when you create these elements where the chairs turn different directions and a couple people have a conversation together as like an event or something, it starts to build more of this real kind of community around that vision, around that direction, right? So that's really cool. I did prep this one framework. I know we're just over time here a little bit, but excited to pull this one together because, like I said, I think there's a lot of parallel elements between product design and community design. So I made this specifically for us here. Um, let's jump in. There we go. So the framework that I've come up with here is the TTFV. This is the time to first value. This is typically something that is looked at very closely with SaaS products and with like elements of any sort of product. With your product as well, this is something I think that's really interesting to think about from the product design perspective, where what is the time period to after the user is activated, and like signs up and goes through that first flow to when they get their first like value moment from it, right? And the shorter that we can make that time period, the less time that exists there, the more there is retention with that product, right? So if you can get them the value as quickly as possible, you've got a much better retention on your product. So lots of SaaS, you'll see often when you sign up with different SaaS platforms, and I've been trying all sorts of different AI tools and different things, they try and give you some little win right away. Like maybe you used your website on sign up and then they actually show you something custom branded for you right away. It's like, oh, I get it, right? So the sooner you kind of understand the product, then the sooner that you want to stick around, you have this more longer tail of retention. And I think the very similar element of flipping this on like a community design, when you create a community, you create a space where people come together, sharing the vision of your product, how can you bring that value into your community as quickly as possible? Whether it's sharing something that they only get within the community or giving them some sort of recognition or exposure. There's just all sorts of different things that you can drip through to it, right? And then a good little chart on it. This was actually um, a little bit of it's a Substack article from Pierre Harubel, who wrote on this time to first value. There's a couple different articles out there, but he had this little graph, which I think is great. We're looking at like your first touch point, and then you have this process of acquisition. Like you talk to people about it, we throw up the QR code. There's a little bit of that first touch point. and then they activate, they sign up, right? And then you've got this time period of their onboarding flow with that product, right? And that's, now the clock has started once they've signed up on when do they get their first value, right? So how do you have it where people don't sign up and then they forget about it and they go on with the rest of their life? And at the same time with the community, how do you have people on board, drop into your Discord, into your Telegram? Now, like, how are they nurtured and how do they get the first little tidbit of value, right? And as soon as they get that aha moment, that first value aspect, they instantly, it's like a psychological trigger of like, okay, this is useful for me being here, or I felt heard here, or I feel belonging here for the community and for the product. Like, oh, I get this product. Like, this is how this works. This is how it can help me out. I'm going to stick around. And the more that you decrease that time, like the quicker that is, then the more impact you have on a longer term uh, retention, right? And by the way, just briefly wanted to give a shout out to like AI because I dropped this onto like Google Slides and then it used Nano Banana. This is how it actually looked like from his article. So if you go to his article, this is what it looks like. And then I dropped it on Google Slide. Nano Banana was like, "Do you want to enhance it?" Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Yeah, make it look like more of our branding." And then it made this. So I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
Yeah,
But anyways,
it's amazing.
AI is wild. But anyways, as I explain this and talk through this, I would love to hear from you now, Joseph. Like, what popped to the top of your brain as I was talking through this when it comes to, thinking about TTFV? What were some of the insights or things that you thought about as I explained this?
I think, I mean, uh, you mean also now just to understand the question? I mean, when we are, for example, onboarding and when they log in, 15 seconds in, you're experiencing the first and how fast they really see the value of using it. And I mean, just to go back to that example from Cannes when I'm standing in line with Reiko, and before we got our drink, we got our he opened the account, and immediately, I mean, when we got our drink, we continued to talk, and we really connected. I really enjoy spending time and conversations with him and
Rico's
his
great.
colleagues. Yeah,
Yeah.
and um, and he immediately, I mean, just a minute after he opened, he went into some other of his wallets and transferred and checked. So he had a what I saw and experienced just there and then was that he, just a minute or two into the first interface experience, saw the value of the solutions, the solution the Trustyfy brings. So, and I think, I mean, that's when I use, software or apps, or it has to be super simple, otherwise it's you skip it and you go to something else. I mean, that's also like a downside in one way for the new technologies, because it's super complicated. And when mail came 20 years ago, I mean, nobody get it, and it took quite some time before understand the value of it, and now you're not even thinking about using it, and that's the goal with Trustyfy, to make decentralized finance mainstream, so that if you don't think about using Web3, you don't think about using crypto, you're just living your life to the fullest.
Yeah, I think like it's really interesting your first point there, where you often have to time to first value. Well, that first value moment could be different for different people, and what would you define as like a value moment? Like for some people, signing up and literally just seeing, oh, I add wallets, I add banks, super simple user experience. This is valuable to me. I get it. Other people may not like get it until they, actually add in their wallets, they add in their banks, and then they realize, oh, now I don't have to like send money here, then send money there. I can send it directly from here to there, and I don't have to think about it. And it's just easier one place for me to go to. Now I've had like that value moment, right? So I think that's it's a good point that you kind of bring up there, that there is people might be on different spectrums with it, but overall, like the approach that you guys have with this, the target market with this, you're not looking for the people who are ultimate DeFi, users who want to set like limit orders and swaps and do all sorts of like crazy stuff. And that market is also like fairly small. There's a lot of products and things out there for that. They're on Hyperliquid. They're going leverage. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff with finance, and they're experienced in that area. But the really, really large market is this space of people who are, you know, um, starting to cue in a little bit to blockchain technology and the value, and they just need something simple. They need something. They're not full-time in crypto. They've got day jobs, they've got other things, they've got bank accounts and other stuff. They need something that's easy for them to be able to have more of this ownership with a smooth UX. And yeah, I think this is something very, very interesting. So really appreciate really going deep on the Trustyfy and everything here, and I hope people got a lot of value out of it and give it a shot. I'm excited to explore a little bit more with it. And yeah, is there any thoughts more so around, generally we are like indexed a bit on talking about some of the community side of things and whatnot. Is there any vision for you, out of curiosity, because I on the website and whatnot, to think about building some sort of community around, like, are you thinking about taking that approach with education and whatnot, and bringing a group of people together who value this aspect of ownership? Has that been on your guys' radar at all, or what are your thoughts around that?
I mean, inside of the Trustyfy community, Trustyfy team, it's amazing, and I think that's what makes it possible to go big and go wide, worldwide. I mean, the demand is really global in that sense, and but I mean, like I said, finance, you just want that to work, because I mean, companies and personal, I mean, we don't lack invention, but we lack to be smooth. And I mean, that's the greatest beneficial when it comes to Trustyfy, that the headache of, I mean, even you're full into crypto with your company, or but be still, I mean, we're still having the need a bridge, and that's where we come in, and enabling you to live more of that freedom life with Trustyfy. So yeah, it's I believe that, I mean, now the full focus is to launch and to see this take off, and but definitely we aiming for the best experience in all aspects, and to see it fly high.
Yeah, I know. Super, super exciting. I think there's a lot of potential here and really interesting opportunity to really leverage this information around this new technology, this new space. And this is like some of the easiest user experience and way into it. I think the bridge analogy is really great, connecting traditional bank accounts within aspects of any, of the wallets, and connecting them in together into one central hub for people who need that seamless element in one spot, right? So I guess as we kind of wrap here a little bit, I would love to know if there's any final things you want to leave the audience with. I've got the QR code up here for getting your free account. But yeah, what are any sort of final words you have for everyone listening?
No, but I'm just thankful to you, Dan, and to your amazing community and what you're doing. And I think one thing that that hit me hard in visiting all these conferences is that the community and the space is very curious of making, and the whole, especially in Cannes. I come back to Cannes. They are so into finding building a better world around, and finding those solutions that really helps us, because we are so loaded with tons of information and thousands of solutions, but we would not just want to go decentralized on the financial side. We want to live kind of more relaxed, work less, but still quality life. So I think that the future, when we meet people like you, the future looks really bright, and that's I'm really excited about that we can make it better, and that's why I so much appreciate to be on this podcast with you guys. It's an honor. So thank you so much for having me.
I really appreciate the kind words. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully linking up with you at a future conference. I'm going around to lots of them. I'm not sure if you guys are planning ETH Denver, or again, ECC is earlier this year, right? It's coming up actually not too far into 2026. Are those on your roadmap?
Yeah, it is. We haven't booked all of them yet, but we definitely see each other out there.
Totally. Amazing. Well, thanks everyone for listening in. Definitely scan the code here and give Trustyfy a shot and explore it. And if you've got any questions, you can reach out to Josef. You can find his contact details here. The company account at Trustyfy, and then also myself, your host here, CEO at CoUnity. Feel free to follow the streams here. We're going to be doing more of these episodes. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Catch you all later.
Thank you.